Hey sweet friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Bethany. Here on my channel you can find all things homemaking. Today's video I am sharing with you a budget friendly mobile home makeover. I know you guys really love those videos on my channel, so I am so excited to share that with you. I also would like to thank DeWill for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to be sharing their product in today's video and how you can transform a space in your home on a budget. I am so excited to share this with you because it is a pretty big transformation and it helps just make the kitchen pop even more after we had painted and done the backsplash. If you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and leave some links to them down in the description box and then also put it up here in iCards. But I want to thank DeWill for sponsoring today's video. I will leave a link down in the description box to their product if you want to check it out, or any of their other products. They are very high quality and low odor, and that is the #1 thing that I was looking for when doing this project. So let's go ahead and jump on into making over my kitchen sink. So if you've been here for a while, you know that we have just your plain stainless steel sink. So this is what it looks like before and after we had painted and done the backsplash in the kitchen. We really wanted to update the sink, but just did not want to spend the money on buying a new sink, which would be over $200. And I had heard Kelly from Kelly's Corner talk about DeWill and their tub and tile kits, and so I went on their website to see if they had anything that would work for a stainless steel sink, and they did. They had the epoxy tub and sink kit, so that is what I got, and I am going to be working with them today and just sharing the whole process on how this works. So in your kit for the epoxy, you get your part A and your part B, so you'll have the epoxy and the color that it's going to be, which I chose white, and then you have your part B, which is the hardener, and then it comes with a pouring cup to make for easy pouring for tighter surfaces instead of just pouring it out of the tub. They give you tape and plastic wrap, an extra roll of tape, sandpaper, a brush, a roller, a mixer, and they give you gloves. So they give you everything that you need to set you up for success when doing these projects. I went ahead and cleaned my sink before I took the sandpaper from the kit and started sanding down the sink, just to make sure that it was nice and clean before sanding, and I will clean it after sanding as well. But that is one thing you definitely want to make sure you do, is sand your surface, whether you have a previously painted tub and tile surround or just, like a clawfoot tub. Whatever surface you're painting, whether it's your sink or your tub, if it's been previously painted, or even if it hasn't, it's a really good idea to just go in and sand it down, making sure that there's no extra debris or paint chips or burrs from the metal, just making sure that your surface is completely level and clean, and it also gives that abrasion to your surface, so that way the epoxy will adhere really well. So you can see that I went ahead and started sanding, and then my husband wanted to come in and join me and help, so he's going to continue sanding the sink. After I was done sanding the sink, I just went through and cleaned it really well, just to make sure that any debris from sanding got washed off. And so I'm going to make sure it's nice and clean. And then the next step you want to do is come in with a heat gun or a hair dryer on the warmest, highest setting, and come through and just really make sure that your surface is completely dry. So I'm going to get in all the cracks and crevices with my hair dryer, just making sure that I am getting all of the water out from behind the faucet, around the drains and things like that, just so that way the surface is completely dry and prepped so we can start pouring the epoxy. This process took us about 2 hours to complete the whole entire thing, from sanding to taping off and getting it all done. And then we did have to let it sit for 24 hours before we could use the sink again, but I did not think that was bad. It will harden over the course of 7 days, so it does take 7 days to fully cure, but you can use your sink or your tub after the 24-hour mark. The only thing you want to make sure is that you just don't clean it before the 7 days with any abrasive cleaners or anything like that. But we have had our sink like this for a while now before doing this video, and I really, really like it. I really enjoy it. It transformed our whole kitchen and just brings the whole thing together, and it looks really well. And this is something I would definitely do again. This was actually the first time I had ever done anything like this as far as like refinishing a sink or a tub. I had never done this before, but I had talked to a lot of people that have, and I was researching different tubs and tile kits and sink kits, and a lot of people complained about odors with most of them, and that is like one of the number one things that I do want to recommend about DeWill is it is extremely low odor. And when I say low odor, you couldn't even smell that this was epoxy or that this was paint. I mean, when you open a paint can from the store smells much more strong than the DeWill tub and tile kits or the epoxy kit. So that is one big bonus, especially with having kids in the house and my husband who does have asthma. I just wanted to make sure we got something that was not going to stink up our house for over a week. But we went ahead and taped off the sink, taped off the faucet and all of that. And now we're going to go ahead and get to mixing the part A and part B. And so whenever you get the part B completely poured into part A, you want to go ahead and take that wooden stir stick they give you in the kit and stir it for a complete 2 minutes. And then after stirring really good, making sure it's all combined, you want to let it sit for 5 minutes just so that way all the air bubbles can come to the surface and can rise and get out of the bottom of the epoxy, so that way when you start pouring you're not getting air bubbles in your sink and things like that, or on your tub, whatever surface you are redoing. So once you stir it, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you are going to be ready to start pouring and transforming your space. So we went ahead and poured it into the little cup, so that way we had a little bit more control of where we were pouring. Since this is the kitchen sink and the countertop was right there, we didn't want to get any on the countertop. So we did use the little cup to pour. And one thing I do want to mention, and this was honestly just something we didn't know when going into it, but to do this again, I want to let you guys know, and even know for myself, less is more with this product. I thought we needed to just take the whole container and spread it out over the sink, but you actually don't need as much as you think, because epoxy is self-leveling. And so the little spots that you can see we missed right there from pouring, we could have taken the brush and just brushed some more epoxy over those spots instead of pouring more, and it would have leveled itself out. And even though we use the brush and the scraper in this video, there is no marks left over from the brush or scraper. So don't feel weary about using those. Please use those, because like I said, less is more. We probably honestly could have used about 3/4 of the can instead of the full can, because that's just how far this stuff goes. And I think that's really awesome, because that just shows that, you know, one can would probably do a decent sized bathtub if that's what you were redoing. But that's just something I wanted to put in there, and that's no fault of the product. Honestly, that was just us not knowing that less is more, and going into this again, which we would definitely do again. I just know now for next time. But those are kind of things you learn when you're DIYing, you know, when you're doing things yourself. You kind of learn as you go, and this was definitely a learning curve for us, but the end result is so beautiful and turns out so wonderful. So if you want to make over a space on a budget, I definitely recommend something like this. Like I mentioned, it's budget friendly, it's extremely low odor. It was pretty easy to do, and you know, you're not out a kitchen sink for, you know, a week or more. You can use it after 24 hours, and it saves you that hefty price tag of, you know, $200 or more for a good quality sink if you're wanting something that, you know, is another color other than stainless steel. But we're just going ahead and pouring the epoxy everywhere that we can, and then once we get it all poured, we will start taking the brush and the scraper and moving it all around to make sure all of our surfaces are completely covered. Just want to take a moment and thank you guys so much for being here and for being so supportive, especially on videos like this, sponsored videos. I try not to do too many sponsored videos, but when it's a product that I really love and something that I think other people could benefit from, I get excited to share, and I would never share anything that I would not honestly use myself or do again. I value you guys so much, and so I always want to give you my honest opinions, but I want to thank you so much for being here and just being part of my YouTube community. So this is what it looks like now that we're going to let it sit for the 24 hours overnight and dry. You can see everything is covered and coated, and this is what it looks like after. You guys, this is amazing. It turned out so good, and I'm honestly just blown away at the transformation of this and truly how easy it was. And going into it again, I feel like I could do it even better than we did here, just knowing what we're going in with, and I just think it's so beautiful. So if you are wanting to transform your bathroom or your kitchen on a budget, definitely check out DeWill, because they have some really awesome products that can help you do that, definitely on a budget. I want to thank you so much for being here. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed today's video. There will be a link down in the description box to DeWill if you want to check that out. But again, thank you so much for being so kind and just being so wonderful. I am so grateful to have every single one of you here. If you are in need of prayer, please leave it down in the comments. I would love to say a prayer for you. I will catch you in the next one. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye, y'all.